Prosecutors in 3 counties declining to pursue felony charges against former President Donald Trump's fundraising committee in relation to an effort to unseat Assembly Speaker Robin Vos. The Wisconsin Ethics Commission, who recommended charges be filed last month, said in a memo that the charges were not being pursued because of conflicts of interest. The Ethics Commission referred the charges to other counties today. As for their review, as we previously reported, the commission alleges that Trump's fundraising committee conspired in a scheme to evade campaign finance laws to support Vos's challenger in the 2022 primary election.